What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Like, share, subscribe, comment, IG, TikTok, bottom video, and we just gonna hop right into it. So, today, we will be discussing Caleb Wilson. So, if you hadn't seen Caleb Wilson, who is, or excuse me, was a student at Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I think it's in Baton Rouge. Yeah, it's in Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He was also a member of the Human Jukebox, and if you are unfamiliar with the Human Jukebox, it's the Southern University marching bands. But for HBCUs, those marching bands are very historic, as we see with FAMU and Grambling State, stuff like that. So that means a lot. As well. So what ended up happening with Caleb? Rest in peace. Caleb was, let me say Caleb Wilson because it's another Caleb involved in the story we'll get to. Caleb Wilson was attempting to pledge Omega Psi Phi. So if you are unfamiliar with fraternities and sororities, and I can't really speak. I know more about D9 and the black fraternity sororities. I can't really speak for the white ones, but the black and white, I mean not black and white, but the black sororities, is a hazing existing. They'll tell you they're not hazing, but let's be for real. We all know if you go to school, if you've been to a university, we know they're hazing. So like it would be absolutely stupid to assume they're not hazing. Even I don't want to get into it too much, but I've seen it even at my school, and shit has happened from it that it makes it obvious that niggas are hazing. So I think it's a very common thing that we know goes on. Plus it makes more sense for why everything would be more secretive and why you're pledging and all that. So what ends up happening, Caleb, they're doing something initiation process in a warehouse somewhere, I guess in Baton Rouge. They're doing they're in a line lined up. So typically I know at probates they typically line up, or the numbers they go from tallest to shortest, or shortest to tallest I should say, because they start anyway. Shortest to tallest I should say. So I don't know if they were lined up like that, but basically they're in a line and Caleb gets punched. He gets punched, they say 4 times in the chest. He ended up falling over and he succumbs to his injury. Now, if you, like I said, if you are familiar with things like this, this will, besides, a death is serious regardless, but injuries and stuff like this, these, they try to keep it under wraps because, you could put at least you could put the fraternity at that university at risk. So they end up trying to cover up the story by saying that he was playing basketball and he, baby probably just, that story's kind of like went in cardiac arrest and fell out. I think that's idiotic. I think them thinking of that story was extremely stupid, because when somebody at that age, let me say this also. It said Caleb Wilson's dad is a high-ranking police officer, or was at one point, or maybe retired, but one of the two. He was or is still currently. So, what I said, I feel like that's idiotic, because when somebody who is this young, just falls out, like before we got the full story, just falls out playing a sport, being active, like a college age student. So he's probably from 18 to 22. You feel me? You're extremely concerned, because what did he die of? If he didn't have a disease or anything, or like if something like not a known health issue, he just passed out and died, you're going to be extremely concerned, because what the fuck did he die of? Like that. So the autopsy was going to be something of extreme concern for a lot of people. They was going to wonder what the hell could have made this young man just pass out and die, when he seemed to be, he's in the marching band. You gotta, if he's carrying them drums, you gotta carry it. Like, he's a fit person, he's active, so he's an active person, and he just passes out and dies. So like I'm saying, so the autopsy's coming, and the autopsy not gonna say he went into cardiac. Well, if he got punched, maybe you might think he just went into cardiac arrest. But if he got punched hard enough, especially 4 times, they're saying he got punched 4 times in the chest, it's going to show that. Because besides the, maybe he went into cardiac arrest and hoping that matches up, it might be some bruising to go along with it in his chest. So it's going to be, you feel me? Like, it was something that was going to tell it. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway. So fast forward, Caleb McCray, he was a former student of Southern University. I guess he graduated, but is a part of the Omega Psi Phi fraternity. He is arrested on felony criminal hazing charges as well as manslaughter. So felony criminal hazing is wait, let me look up. It's in Louisiana. Let me look up the actual penalty. So he was on $25,000. Okay, so felony criminal hazing, it can go from a sentence of up to 5 years, depending on the severity and injury or death. Obviously, this is the worst case in a death. And he was charged with manslaughter. So manslaughter, I know usually typically 1 to 20 years, depending. But let me look at Louisiana as a state. And so who it said commits manslaughter shall be imprisoned at hard labor for up to 40 years. So you can go from 1 to 40 years in general manslaughter in Louisiana. So at the worst he can get like 45 years. And I mean it depends if you get convicted. But what I was saying is that the hazing was a $25,000 bond, the manslaughter $75,000 bond. He's out on bond. So y'all know how bond usually work. 10%. I've heard sometimes 50%. So that's 100,000. So you had to pay 10,000, 15,000 to get out. Another thing is they are expecting two other people, which I would just assume it was the two other people who were punching at least the other people pledging. Maybe it wasn't. I feel like Caleb was probably the one who directly either he was like the head like nigga running it, or he's the one who directly punched Caleb Wilson, because it's Caleb McCray that got arrested. But Caleb Wilson, that's why he got arrested first. But yeah, it's supposed to be two others there saying come forward and turn themselves in. And like I said, I just assume those would be the ones who were punching the other pledges, or they might have been the first few punches, first 2-3 punches on Caleb before the fatal punch. So yeah, it's a crazy story. If y'all ever seen, I was actually watching, if y'all ever seen something like Burning Sands, it'll tell you a lot. But this is a depressing story. I mean, I understand why niggas do fraternities and things of that sort, but you never want to see a negative outcome, but you do know what comes with it, but you never want something like this to happen. And I do believe they might just have to calm down a little bit with some of the shit that they do. But yeah, that shit crazy. RP Caleb Wilson. But like, share, subscribe, comment, IG, TikTok, on the video, and we out.